Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Man Alone Solo Role Playing YouTube channel. For those that are regular watchers of my channel, this is probably a bit of a weird look for me. But before you do indeed see the newest starter set, Heroes of the Borderlands, for the world's greatest role playing game. Dungeons and Dragoons. And why do I have this? Well, for those of you who are just popping in to watch this video and will never come back again, you already could tell you don't like the cut of my jib. Who cares? But for those of you who are subscribers, returning viewers, this is called Heroes of the Borderlands, and this box set I do believe will be the hero of the Borderlands, because I purchased this to basically get everything I need for a game of 5 Leagues from the Borderlands, which is a different video I'm making, attempting to show people that there's a lot of cool solo miniature type games out there. 5 Leagues from the Borderlands, 5 Parsecs from Home, Rangers of the Shadow Deep, the new Kill Team solo rules are pretty good. And I wanted to show people this with materials they might have hanging around the house. And so what hangs around the house more often than a starter set? I mean, raise your hand if you have some D&D starter set under your bed or something that you read 6 years ago. So this is, I'm looking forward to opening this up because it's true. I dislike Wizards of the Coast. I think that they are a cynical company that has no, at least their company. There may be some people there who are still invested in gaming, but the company is it's a money printing company, and I have no love for it. But that does not mean that I have any negative feelings towards people who play the game. Obviously, the game has a long history, and I'm not gonna be a punk. Like, if something's pretty good, I'm just gonna call it good. And I have to say, for $50, just from what I'm seeing here, and this was kind of an impulse buy, but I had about $80 worth of different terrain and tokens and stuff like that to play 5 Leagues, and I was like, wait, this is $50. Might as well try it out. And so I thought I would make this video really quick. And see what's inside, and then also to see if maybe some of you might be interested in solo playing this. Would that be possible? We'll check it out. I will say, in addition to all the stuff it apparently has about 220 cards. It has tokens, dice, standees, adventures. What I'm most interested in, though, is these player, what are they called? They're basically these player sheets that you set on the table, and then you can slot the cards and everything in there. And I think that is pretty cool. I'm very interested in that because I think that's something that, if that design works, a lot of companies might consider something like that. Although you'd have to check first. I'm sure Wizards of the Coast has already copyrighted paper. Okay, so let's cut this guy open. Heroes of the Borderlands. By the way, you should check out the marketing for this, because it appears that our friends from the coast are reportedly, some have said, this is a rumor I've heard, who knows, but they have been sort of trying to market this as a board game. Like, the language in it, even on the back here, is quite interesting. Like, Heroes of the Borderlands is a cooperative fantasy adventure. Okay? In each game, one player acts as a dungeon master, while others act as heroes in an ever-evolving story. And just like the whole way that it was stocked and everything like that, it looks very like you're opening a game of what's a great board game? Is there an upgraded Yahtzee yet? Is there Yahtzee Death March or anything? Has Milton Bradley returned yet? They said that. What is going on here? a second. I'm about to make loud sound. All right. So, this is for people that are 12 feet tall or more. The world's greatest role-playing game. Very nice quality box. Contents, quick start guide, play guide, 3 adventure booklets, 9 double-sided poster maps. So that's first thing, like first 9 things that I wanted. 5 handouts. Oh, that's such a cool thing to feature, right? Like, well, I don't know, man. How many handouts does it have? Combat tracker, 8 character class boards. That's what it's called. 210 cards for characters, items, monsters, NPCs, 273 tokens for monsters, terrain, and resources, and 11 game dice. So if you are truly new to tabletop role playing, first of all, welcome. And if you are in the select elite group of people who are not only new to tabletop role playing, but are also quite bad at meeting people or maintaining friendships, welcome to the Man Alone Solo Playing channel, where we talk about how to play games in a solo fashion, if you can get the box open, as well as how to play solo specific games. And we have, sorry, one moment. Boy, that was packed tight. Okay. So, Dungeons and Dragons is a cooperative game in which players create exciting fantasy stories guided by a dungeon master or a DM. Imagination and chance determine. Okay, that's fine. So we want to unpack the box. The first time you open the box, unpack and organize its contents as follows. Retrieve the booklets and maps. Punch out the tokens. Retrieve the class boards and sort the cards. An ongoing game. Each time you gather to play D&D, you're playing a single game session. And we got a quick start video. All right, then it separates who gets what. This is very nice. Yeah, this is what these boards look like. I think that looks pretty cool. Now, usually with these starter sets, especially for D&D, they usually don't tell you, like, they don't waste time on character creation. They're just going to give you pre-gens. So this is what everything looks like here. I'm curious to see how big the posters are. So this is one of the things that I'm trying to figure out for 5 leagues is, you know, how much I've actually tried to do the math to play it in like a 18-inch by 18-inch space, but it's a little bit weird. So yeah, looking forward to that. We have the play guide. Wow, I could use that as a little ruler. This is one of the things about, you know, solo play is there's a sort of like being a ninja. You know how ninjas can use their environment. Like if there's a rocking chair, they can throw the rocking chair as like a rocking chair shuriken. And then if there's a grandma on it, they just throw the grandma as a grandma shuriken. Cool. Plate armor. Cornflower. All right. So yeah, this comic book looks that's certain to have wide appeal. And of course this is very common when you're playing D&D. You usually have a hairbrush. People use the hairbrush to sort of just brush their hair, as well as and then I like that too. That's very common, as well as that people wear just their like a shirt with dice on it. It's like, yeah, man, I love dice. That's kind of like people who have just NFL hats. I just love the sport. All right. So here's all the rules. Those are probably good. Nice rules glossary. You know, for how much is here, it's actually less dense than what I've seen in the past, and it's in alphabetical order. There you go. Glossy, yucky glossy. I don't like glossy stuff. It does bear comparing that this is when I picked this up, there was also the Dungeon Crawl Classics free starting rules. And you know, I just in terms of attracting new players, I just have to say, please, DCC, please retire this man. Please. He's like everyone's uncle that you know is doing weird stuff. You know, Uncle Tom is vacuuming naked again, stuff like that, and oof, well, some pretty cool stuff. And this was really nice for something that was free. This was at like every FLGS I've been to in the last week. But yeah, tough. All right. Wilderness Adventure Booklet. Keep on the Borderlands. Caves of Chaos. So these are just different adventures. I don't really know who my audience is right now. I keep switching. Like sometimes I'm talking to you, established solo player, or you, new tabletop role-playing gamer. So I'm going to switch now and just talk to myself. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's one of the other awesome things about D&D is like some treasure chests have gold, some of them are mimics, and then some of them are just filled with beans. That's always been a weird thing, is just bushes baked beans. But you know, I guess it makes sense. The maps look very well defined and very vivid. This is a letter from Harvey Keitel. Huh. Okay. And we have some stuff for sale here. Pretty good prices. You know what? I know, I don't know who's selling these, but I know with prices that good, it's gotta be some good stuff. A little menu. This is, I mean, come on. Like, let's not be player haters, right? If you were new to tabletop role playing, this would look good. You'd be excited about this, right? I mean, I would be. I would feel really jazzed about it. And then, yeah, these maps, they looked good from afar. I have to do a big sniffle. All right, so this is Cave A. And that's interesting, too, the Radiohead album, Cave A. I do really like how the squares, oh yeah, this will not fit on the table, but maybe half of it will. I really like how like defined they are. Now they're just kind of gloss maps, but they're pretty good stock. And I do like this illustration. It's definitive. This is like all of you who are dads. This is you on Saturday morning, like in the 1950s. You know, there'd be the Business Times. This is you. Quiet down over there, kids. Trying to read Cave A. Oh, jeez. So apparently there are 9 maps. I don't know if that means 9 sheets or how would that actually work? Because they're double-sided. Casey. So yeah, these. Look at that. That looks like a little face of somebody who's kind of. Hey guys, how's it going? Right there, right? Hey, how you doing? Hope you enjoy the Man Alone channel. Cave F. Okay, so lots of caves. Oh, Nick Cave. Cave H. My goodness. Cave H. Come home, Cave H. That's... You can't do that. I did the same thing with my Monster Energy drinks. You can't just throw the skulls in the corner. All right. We get it, right? Lots of good... Lots of good options, though. Wowzer. And then this one... See, this... You know what I was about to say? I was about to say, this nice, too. I'm going to unfold. You know what? I'm not going to show Caves K and J because actually I think that would be a fun little surprise if any of you are playing it. This is very good. This is a Keep on the Borderlands, which I may just use as sort of the settlement for 5 leagues. That's cool. Yeah, like that's the cool thing about, role playing. You could have whatever you want. It's like I want a tree, but I want it covered in Totino's pizza rolls. You could do that. Yeah, see, this looks great. This looks great. The Fens, that's where BB's from. The Woods, that's where I'm from. Wow, lots of maps. That's two things that you don't appreciate till you're older. Maps and fresh fruit. All right. So yeah, really nice like the little location key. I'll try to knock down all my miniatures by the end of the video. And some more. What is this one? Oh, is this maybe a Caves of Chaos? Okay, cool. So that's like the overland map, but like a dungeon crawl overland. And there's Cave E on the back, and I'll tell you what, Cave E might be a good cave for me because that will fit in this space right here. So I will keep that one aside. And I'm going to start pulling stuff aside here that I'm going to use. And then we have, geez, look at this, folks. This is wild, man. There's lots of stuff here. This is really good. This is really good. I mean, for me, for my 5 leagues from the Borderlands playthrough that I'm doing right after this is done. This is really good stuff. This is perfect, actually. I'm glad I did this. All of you who mocked me, now you pay. Yeah, these are just like little forest paths, being in the woods. Super Mario. Sunshine. Okay. So, we have now reached the end of maps. And now we have these player boards. And some of you can very much identify with these because you are also bored. If that's the case, thanks again for trying to watch my channel. This is actually really, really nice material here. What is it? It's kind of that, it's glossy, but it feels smooth and non-reflective. Would that be called matte, like a matte surface? I never know. But yeah, this looks pretty cool, right? Because it has the labels for where everything goes. And then, yeah, so cool. So you got a level 1 cleric, level 2, level 3, and then it's like, oh, level 3, you want more? Well, you got to buy it. You got to buy it. So we have a cleric, we have a fighter, and a real estate agent. Wow, that's a new class. Oh, rogue. Sorry, I saw the letter R and then I just stopped caring. All right. Then a wizard. A scholarly magic user of arcane power. Starting cards. Place your cantrips here. You know, what's his name? Dungeon. The dude who made my boards that I like for Pendragon and stuff. This would be a great one to make some moolah on. Right when I say make some money, these coins show up. These are legal tender in the game. And looks like we have some 1s, some 5s, and some 25s. Let's just, if you want to take a look at all of them. Very nice. And then we have these top-down tokens, which again I think are going to be pretty good for 5 leagues, but also I think it's good to do I love standees? Yes, but when I'm playing on the channel, it's probably better to have tokens so people can see. Like a standee here, you can't really see what that is. Okay. And then these look like they do have, like maybe the monster tokens you could put in a little butt crack. I mean, that's what it looks like. It's all I can think of. I'm sorry. Okay. Some monsters. Jeez, I feel bad for that guy. It's like Killer Wasp, all this, and then just like Steve. Okay. And this is also my lucky day, because this is why this is very cool. Another thing that people worry about for like using any sort of miniatures and stuff is I've got to buy castles and all this stuff. Oh, there's some terrain stuff right here. You just put it flat on the board and say it represents that. I will say over time you'll probably get like the hunger. If you really dig it, you'll be like, maybe I'll try to pick something up. And there's stuff that's pre-made, pre-painted. So don't feel like you need to follow any sort of specific template for anything. Just do whatever works for you to have fun. And then some HP. Power tokens. Gem tokens. Yeah, this is very board gamey. Ooh, I cannot. I love blank sheets of high stock paper like this to just draw on or write on. It's kind of like a child when they get a bow. And here she is, Andrella, the human captain of the guard. Wow. She's so mad. But that's what it takes to guard people, right? So this is very impressive, and wow, it's a lot of cards. So let's see what kind of idiot I am. Let's see what, like, I hope they're nice, sort of, like regular playing cards and not flimsies. Yes, very nice card stock. Acolyte. Okay. Why does that look like a corporate office building? All right. Folks. And then we have some dice. Now, look, dice are fun. They're great. Any kind of dice are great. I love dice. Look at this. There's some dice. But it's about to be autumn here in Earth. Well, it's autumn, and you know what that means? Falling leaves. But it doesn't have to be depressing. And you know what? I have to be honest. I'm feeling the opposite of depressed ever since the newest shipment from Dice Nest came in. I am so excited to share these with you. Legit. Because when I first got them, I was like, Maple Leaf Dice. Okay, I mean, they're my channel sponsor. And then I opened it, and I was like, whoa. I looked inside, and wait a minute, those aren't Maple Leaf. Of course not, because they're already on the tree, friends. These Maple Leaf Dice are all a different stone. They're so pretty. It's a D6. Look at that one. It's like that, what is that? Incandescent, like rainbow. I have them on here with the Dragon Flame from Dice Nest, as well as a few of the Black Agate dice. But you can see the delicate gold leaf on each of the sides, and they're still extremely readable even while you're rolling. I mean, it's like, how do you pull that off? They did. And there's all different colors, stones, levels of clarity, and it's just such an awesome deal. Comes in this expertly shipped, like I said, magnetic clasping box. I had to retire my summer dice colors for this, but I think just the transition of this makes me very happy to see all of these up here, and I cannot wait to use them. Just right now, if I were to stop right now, I'd say that's enough. You have enough reason to get yourself some of the new Maple Leaf dice. But just in case you needed even more, do not forget that viewers of this channel can also get 20% off by using promo code MAN dice alone. Okay, please don't confuse that with anything else. Man, dice alone will get you 20% off. In all seriousness, the dice that I get from Dice Nest are among the most beautiful things I own. They make me feel good just to look at them. I know that premium dice like this can be, it's an investment. It's a tough time. Not everybody has investable money. So I hope that this 20% can make it something a little bit more real for you. And it will also support the Man Alone channel and BB and myself. And I'd really appreciate it. If you want to support me, that's a great way to do it. Because I really treasure these. I really, really do. They really make me happy. It's just nice to have. I've never had stuff in my life that's just like something I got because I love it. And honestly, these dice are a great example of that. There's also just like this hobby. I've never been, I don't want to get too far off tangent, but I've never been like a collector of anything. And the worst part is I haven't even been pragmatic. It's like if you're not a collector of sorts, you should be pragmatic. I was neither. Like I collected, Crunch Wrap Supremes or whatever, and so it's something special, and it's nice to have something special around you. So I hope with that, that's an awesome discount. All right, I should stop because I'm talking right now as if I'm not like the one provisioning that discount, and so it's me going, oh yeah, I've heard this really cool discount. But yeah, or you can just use these. Oops, dropped them by accident. Good boy. All right, just my impressions. I would say that just from having been around the block with these sort of punch sheets, useful, useful, not useful. Maybe it depends what we're doing with those, and not useful. Just write it down. I don't need little golden Death Stars flapping all over the place. But of course, your mileage may vary. Also, much like a board game. Interesting. There's these little baggies that you could put everything in, which is nice. It's a nice touch. I think this is a very nice touch right here. A combat tracker. Love that. That's really nice, actually. Because I love little, like, notepads. Doesn't take much. It doesn't take much to make these special. That's a very thick blank piece of cardboard. That goes in my collection. And this is where it gets very interesting as well. We have a bunch of enemy cards with all their stats. Dudettes. This is very good. This is like really nice. This is something I wish I had in every game. Yeah, that's quite nice. Let's take a gander. Yeah, I'm not even trying to rip on these. These dice are quite crummy, which is a shame. Like even like it looks like somebody threw some like whiteout in these little indentations here. So, but I mean like it's a first. If you're just starting to play, you need polyhedral dice, and they do the trick. But yeah, this is like a starting thing. Wow, that's really good. That's really good. I'd love for Dragonbane to have something like this. Yep. 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 Oh, that's pretty cool. Yep. That's what happens. That's Steve. Yeah, this is really good. And then also, I showed this, but I just want to case in point. This is also very, very good, which is they have 4 copies of like little what to do on your turn and actions. That's really good. I mean, I'm sorry. I know that not everybody has positive feelings towards. I would say most people don't have negative feelings towards the game itself. other than the things I've cited, but any which way, you have to admit this is a nice treaty treat set here for $50. I know of a starter set that costs a little more than that and has no dice in it. Forgot what that starter set's called. I think it rhymes with Lorbidden Fans. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to look at, I don't think there's anything else. There is a crisp $30 bill down here. No, there's nothing. The last thing I wanted to look at here, just before we even think about soloing, is these cards, and what are they all about? While I'm getting these open, you know what I was thinking about though, like when I was talking about Wizards of the Coast, is like, are there examples of companies that have sort of risen to the top of whatever they are, or whatever they do, and they have not like sold out? And I don't think there is an example of it, because even if you name an example, I would feel like it was not yet. Especially now where it's just sort of like the way that mergers and acquisitions go, that all companies are just sort of these blobs that, coalesce into each other and create these bigger blobs. At a certain point, you just become part of the big blob, right? And you just stop caring about innovating, about finding what's special, and you just want to like replicate the thing over and over and over again, play the hits, and at the same time, it's like, can you blame them? How can you blame them for putting these things, especially in an era of culture and media in which, like, our entire media landscape with Marvel and Disney and everything is like, oh, I recognize that. I know the Owl Bear. And they want the Owl Bear to become, they want the Owl Bear to become the Bob Dole of our time. And no, I will not explain that. Damn it. Opening them, I like bit Andrella up. It's not good. There's Cornflower, Fazir, Callista, Alan, Olara, Ruckus. Come on. So a lot of NPCs. Very cool. And what does it have? What you need to play. Monster card Commoner. One of Borderlands' oldest and wisest residents was banished from the keep for crimes she didn't commit. Bad reputation. Xanthi was wrongfully exiled for using occult magic. Distrustful. Okay, I see. So that's cool. This is very cool. So it says right up here, like, you can use the guard monster card if you have to fight them. Very simple way of saying that. And then it just tells you a little bit about them and highlights like the two biggest things about them. And then has some rumors. And then has like the little Wizards of the Coast copyright stuff on the bottom. And then the rest of these cards, just 220. What if this was 220 just cards that said acid? Hey, really quick, I got a question for you guys. Why you guys always messing with me, Why you always busting my... That didn't work either. Even if I edit that, which I'll forget to edit it. All right, so we got some Borderlands tabards. And flavor on the back. Cardboy in me loves it. We have the armor class on the bottom. Jeesh. Yeah. I bet we could use... I'm just looking through some of this stuff because, lanterns are universal. What kind of musical instrument is that? Is that what they play at medieval times? Now that's something that I would love to become the most popular thing. I would love if like medieval times, you ever seen Demolition Man? Taco Bell won like the fast food wars. I would love it if medieval times won these sort of like entertainment wars and everything was just there was a medieval times verse. If you're not from the US, medieval times is an amazing place that should not exist, and yet it still exists. It's basically a place where you eat as if you were a knight with Pepsi. There's Pepsi there. But it's just like you eat like a big turkey legs, and there's literally just jousting and like sword fighting in the middle of the place. It's incredible. So here are the backgrounds. That's cool. And different species, matches to its token. Very, very helpful. I mean, obviously, it's not like, I think all of this stuff is really good, and if you're into it, I think you should get it. I think you should. This is great. I mean, honestly, this is just something that if you're it's a place that a lot of people start, and also if you're in a place where you're trying to get some games going or you're trying to join some games, uh, if there's not many games going where you live, the games that are going are probably going to be D&D. So you should check it out, and I think this is a really approachable way to get into it. And to be quite honest with you, even places where there are a lot of games, like it's kind of sucks actually. Like my FLGS used to have a indie game night, and they can't even sustain it anymore. And I had to set a boundary because I'm no longer GMing every time someone wants to play not 5e. I think that this looks great, and I think it's very helpful. And if you're a group of friends, you want to do it, go for it. Now, it's a little bit difficult for me to just say how I would solo this right off the bat, because the truth is, if you are an experienced solo player, you know what happens next, right? So what do we need? We need an oracle. We need to rebalance things so that we make sure that we don't get whomped to death in the first 5 seconds of the game. And then we need to be able to generate adventures. Okay. So this is set adventures here, which means that there are adventures that have a beginning, a middle, and end. They're designed for beginners, so they will usually not have too much choice. And we can look at that as a good thing or a bad thing. We can look at it as a good thing because what is going to happen in the game is very definitive. But the bad thing is what's going to happen in the game is very definitive and predictable. And you know, a big reason, there's like a tiny little gnat flying here. I'm gonna try to reduce its HP. All right. So if you want to solo this, which it's, you know, it's not made for solo, and that's never really that doesn't really mean anything on this channel. I mean, like, there are lots of things that aren't made for solo. You could solo pretty much anything. The reason I say that this time is because this is, if you wanted to like invest yourself in a solo adventure, this might not be one that you're going to get a very robust, full experience from. And the reason for that is because it's only designed to bring you to level 3. Okay. And beyond that, you could putz around more in it. You could do all the putzing you'd like. However, at a certain point, you'll probably want to move beyond that, and this in and of itself does not have the tools to do that. You can get the tools to do that. You can create those things, but I guess that my thought is, if you are going to invest in the time and the resources needed to successfully solo this, you may wish to invest that in like the full game, you know. But I also know that some people get this and they're like, I would like to play it on my own. So here is my suggestion for how to do that. So generally, first of all, I am not going to explain to you how to play D&D. If you don't know how to play D&D, you should probably do that first. There's like an intro video that I think you scan a QR code for. That's on you, and there are plenty of videos for that. I'm talking about like the approach, the organization of how you would go about this. So there are 3 areas here, and this booklet right here, the play guide, that's the one that everybody can read, whether you're a player or GM. In all likelihood, players could probably no. See, even this one is a DM secret. So I say that just so you know, if you decide to solo this, like you are going to know different things that happen, um, the sequelae of events, and so if you play it as a group, um, depending on how you view role playing, if it's something that you could have an advantage on. I mean, it's more about creating a story, but if you know the suspense of things, making difficult choices, you will know what's about to happen, and obviously that will affect the choices you make, right? I mean, think about it. It's like if you open a door and find Frankenstein behind it, and then a week later someone's like, well, what about that door over there? Do you want to open it? You're gonna go, guys, I don't know why, but I have a sinking feeling that we shouldn't open that door. And they're like, why? You're like, well, let's just say my volt. And you're like pointing at your neck, and they're like, what's wrong with this guy? Anyways, so you can read this. To start, even if you're a player, this won't spoil anything, and this is going to give you actually a quite good overview of how to play. And it gives a little thing on the original Dungeon Module B2, the Keep on the Borderlands, designed by Gary Gygax. And weirdly enough, I believe that I have that. That's right. I do, because friend of the channel, Orc Knuckles, traded my podcast co-host Mr. 55's shoes for a first edition Keep on the Borderlands introductory module for characters level 1 through 3. And we were trying to trade his old shoes up and keep trading up till he got a house. If you ever seen the red paperclip, and it totally fell off. And that was almost a year ago to the day. So I guess I'll say, if anybody has a slightly upgraded trade that you want to make for this, put it in the comments below, because this is still in play. We're trying to trade to something gradually better over and over again, but it ran out of steam. Ugh. Yeah, it's hard to tell the difference, right? Pretty good. This is amazing that Orc Knuckles sent that for a dirty old pair of shoes. So this is how it's going to go. You're going to start in the Keep on the Borderlands. So you would grab the map, you'd put that out in front of you, and if you have not done this before, you're going to have to learn the sort of failed endeavor that it is to solo play a set adventure. And what I mean by that is, you are going to go through this book, and it's going to have certain things that are speaking to the GM. And it's going to talk to them about the types of dilemmas to present to the players. It's going to talk to them about how the players might react to things. And this obviously creates a dilemma, because you are both the player and the GM. So there are some general strategies for this. For instance, any sentence that says "if the players," just stop reading that for a second and think about what you would do if you were a player. You also want to try and read headings and proceed down with bolded words slowly. Okay, so if I were reading this with a spunky barn goat, boy, that picture infuriates me. I hate it. Ugh. Barn. What you need to play. Poster map. Keep on the Borderlands. NPC card. Cornflower. Finally. The barn shelters the keep's livestock. It also serves merchants and travelers who need a place to stable their mounts while visiting the keep. Animals housed at the barn receive a box stall or pen, food, and grooming. When the characters arrive at the barn, read the following box text aloud. So this is everything so far you would be doing. Animals snuffle, cluck, oink, and moo inside the stalls of the spacious barn, which smells of leather and manure. A freckled halfling woman uses a pitchfork to unload hay from a nearby wagon into an empty stall. She wipes the sweat from her brow and extends a hearty greeting. So this is that cornflower, and if I were solo playing this right now, I would attack. Okay, this is obviously demon spawn. Cornflower is, if not a witch, then like a witch's minion. If I had battle axe or something like that, but just assuming that not the player is not as strategic as I am. It will say the halfling is cornflower, the barn hand. So then go through, and this is what's cool about having cards, is you can go through them and just look at the picture. There's more information on the back. Don't proceed to the back yet because you don't want to spoil anything. You may end up doing that, and you're going to have the map out in front of you. And all right, I don't know if I'll be able to get the card. It's way down there. So we have cornflower is there we go. Cornflower right there. We can sort of take our sensory information from that and put that right here aside for now. Okay. And you want to already start thinking about, what kind of character am I? What sort of motivations do I have? And this is the question that you really need to be asking yourself about everybody you encounter. What is their motivation? What do they want? People's actions flow from that always. That's always the, think of an actor, like the trope, the trope of an actor when an actor is in a movie playing an actor. They're always like, what's my inspiration? What's my motivation? The reason that they're asked that is because everybody's actions, down to their behaviors, their facial expressions, the emotions they have, it all comes down to their motivation. Anything that conflicts with their motivation frustrates them. Anything that supports it excites them. So now we can read the barn features, and the bolded words are good to read first. And the barn services. I don't think any of these will, my instinct is that none of these will be big spoilers. We can read those. Now it says quest, okay? Quest means something is about to initiate, that it will involve a series of interesting choices, which is the heart of role-playing. Billy Goat Wranglin'. I can already tell you what this is. This is a this is a premium weapons grade quality intro teaching scenario to like how to role play. We got to go get this stupid goat. After introducing herself and explaining the barn services, Cornflower confesses that she could use the character's help. Read the text aloud. And my goat. Cornflower offers the characters 1 gold piece for every goat they bring back. The number of missing goats equals the number of player characters. All right, so right there, what are you going to do? You're not going to follow that rule because that means there's only 1 damn goat. We want more than 1. I'm saying there's 3. Finding the goats. Now, this is where we might find the first time that we go, wait a minute. The goats are scattered throughout the keep. Roll 1d12 for each missing goat, re-rolling duplicates. Keep these results secret. So right now, you do have a choice. If you were solo playing, you could roll those under a cup and leave the cup upside down. Each result corresponds to a numbered location on the keep on the Borderlands map where a goat can be found. For example, on a 6, a goat is outside the provisioner's shop. To find the goat, the characters must go to that location, though they don't have to venture inside. But this is a great example of like order of operations. You don't have to roll those dice right now. What you can do instead, right, because the idea is they need to go find where the goat is. You can go around to these different locations and you can choose them at random. Go to the map and choose, number 6. And we'll say that that is that little house right there. Trader's shop. The trading post sells armor and weapons. Okay. And so say that you said there are 3 goat. All right. Then what you can do is you could just say, well, you're rolling a d12, right? Whenever you go to a location, roll a d12, and 10, 11, and 12 mean that a goat is there. Okay. And if you don't succeed, then the goat is not at that location. The next place, bring it down to 8. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Or I guess, yeah, bring it down to 9. Reduce it each time until you find a goat. There are 3 goats total. And just keep saying, okay, now for the last one, right, it should be like, I'm going to roll a d12 and however you want to deal with the odds on that one. If maybe you won't find it, you could say, all right, anything over a 4, I find it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you have the right odds of it. Okay, the odds are right if they feel right to you. If you were to say, oh, what are the chances that I find a goat here? And you roll a d6 and you say, everything other than a 6, I find the goat. Okay, are you okay with that? Do you want it to be that certain? Whatever you decide it in advance and commit yourself to that, because the race is long, my friends, and in the end, it is only against yourself. And you need to realize this very important rule of solo play right away is that, you know how you have the rule of cool in role playing? In solo play, that doesn't exist. I mean, it does, but like coolness is like, yeah, everyone around is going to be like, yeah. So instead of the rule of cool, you have the rule of Yule. That doesn't really work, but YOU apostrophe LL. You'll like this? You'll feel good about this? You'll think that this was a decent challenge? All right. It doesn't matter if you get it in all of the cosmos. You don't need exactly the right odds for everything. Now, this is going to keep on, and there's one more thing I want to say just about sometimes you are going to encounter things that if you were playing in a group, your player characters, if you were the GM, they would have to make a decision in blind. They would not know the information that you would know. And so obviously you cannot you don't have to you cannot know and not know at the same time. So I'll talk about what to do, but make sure you read this section here on page 4 because it describes like what the bold terms mean. It's like what all of these components are so that you know just out of like your peripheral vision, oh, I see like the bold terms that are italicized, that's an NPC. So I know that whatever's in the next paragraph, it's going to start with an NPC. Some people like to do an index card and go down one line at a time, but you're still going to have things slip through, okay? And so say that you read a line and it says, tell the characters that they can choose any of the boxes to open. Little do they know that if they don't open a box at all, they will get a special prize for exhibiting restraint and respect, okay? So, if you're solo playing, you're going to be like, well, yeah, I guess, I mean, I wouldn't have thought of that on my own, but I guess I want to do that, right? Forget that. Here's what you do. Figure out a skill test that's related to that. Okay, so let's just say here, if it's basically what like the marshmallow test. You have these boxes and they have to resist temptation, or they have to show frustration tolerance and like wait it out. Okay. So is that going to take strength, constitution, wisdom, dexterity, intelligence, charisma? I would say in most cases it's going to take constitution. It's going to take like an ability to tolerate lack of short-term sensations, positive feelings and instead to pursue longer term, more fulfilling, more helpful goals. And then just do a check. And rather than saying, should I wait to open this box? I already know what that opening it, I get something, and not opening it, I get more. Instead of doing that, say, I wonder what my player will do. Then you do a skill check. And the reason you do a skill check is because it then weights the result based on your character, right? If you were just to do a straight like coin flip, that's fine. But if your character is super impulsive, that means you want there to be a very low chance that they'll avoid this, but maybe they will, right? And so that's why we use those stats, okay? The general order of this is going to be after the play guide. You'll do the after the play guide, you'll do the keep on the Borderland. That'll be like your launching site. Very nice. You get to talk to a lot of NPCs. You get to meet a lot of people. And as you do this, as you put more information in your head, you are going to start to get a better sense, and you're going to start to imagine threads of possibility. When you leave the keep, you will go out into the wilderness. If you were playing, say, like a video game, that is just like a role-playing game, this would be the overland map. And I know I can find it eventually. So that's the wilderness. And here we can see that we've exited the keep on the Borderlands. And now we can go around to Tamarack Stand. We can search for things in the woods. We can go on the trail. And then we can go to the Caves of Chaos if we want. And maybe that's determined by a conversation you had in town with an NPC who told you about the caves. And maybe you said, well, I'd like to, but I just don't feel strong enough yet. The wilderness, this one is going to be the best booklet of the three to generate random stuff. Because first of all, it has encounters that you can find randomly along the trail. And you don't need to worry about like creating something plot-wise that's going to later conflict with itself. And then also in the back, there are random encounters, okay, for the fens, Tamarack Stand, the trail. And these are things that you can just roll on and you'll be able to surprise yourself. Also, not all of these encounters are combat. For instance, if you roll a 1d8 while you're on the trail, you can find somebody who is going to be helpful to you. You can also start to modify these as you see fit. Maybe it says that you encounter somebody who's going to help you, and in the booklet it says the person's going to heal you, but instead you go, yeah, you know what? I kind of want something different to happen. And for this, you'll need an oracle. Now, if you follow this channel, you may at this point know that there are lots of sources of it. One that I think is affordable and is pretty comprehensive is getting the Game Master Apprentice deck. I have these set of about 100 cards in this little card shoe here that I can pull at any time. It'll give you different odds. It'll tell you different nouns, different belongings, names, catalysts, locations, and you use that to inspire you. There are also plenty of oracles all over the place. And I want to say that there is a pretty cost-effective book. Actually, it's not cost-effective. It's pretty cheap, but I actually don't think it's very cost-effective. It's called Once We Were Gods, a solo swamp crawl for 5e by Tim Roberts, and it's by Critical Kit, which I have mixed opinions on. Some of their stuff is really good. Some of their stuff is a bit brief. And, stuff like this, I think is, I think people who make these need to be a little bit more careful, especially the less experienced players when they say, oh, you can play this endlessly. It's a standalone game. And, well, of course you could play it endlessly in a standalone game because most of the book is just telling you to look other stuff up. Here's where you can find the 5th edition SRD. Oh, you want to know what the monsters do? Well, good for you. I know a website called themonstersknow.com. well, that's not, and then that's it as far as the rules go for this game. But there are a couple tables here that I think are just right for this level of things. If you truly don't have, you know, any oracles or any, you could find them online and stuff for free. But if you just wanted something that you could reference in your hand, it has some creatures, some items, and this, especially right here, this 1d20 complications table. Okay. And then in the back, yeah, I just you have some curses, some boons, and resources for solo play, which I think for the game itself, again, I just think that's a bit misleading. It's like, I could look this up. I don't need to buy a book for this. How about you give me some of these things, So, just my opinion. But yeah, this is actually really good though if you're starting out and you want to get something that will help to launch you into solo play. It does have lots of resources all gathered in one spot. It even tells you to visit the Reddit solo play group. But yeah, other than that, it comes with this little map. There's also an option to get it with dice and totems. And here I will be unusually direct. I usually try not to be too critical of other people's games simply because I have a weird role of reviewing games and making them, and I, what goes around comes around sort of thing. But I can definitively say I do not think you should get the totems and dice with this. I can't even find the totems. The dice are not, there's nothing specific about them. Legend dice, I suppose they're themed, and then the totems are literally like plastic. They're like 1/100th ounce plastic things that look like little chess pieces in a plastic chess thing. And it cost me about $12 more to get that, and I don't think you need it. So obviously, you make a decision on your own. You're an adult. This channel is only for people who are over 81. So I know everyone here is an adult. But yeah, so that's a good resource. There's stuff online. You could see, this is where it's tricky. You could get this or you could get my stuff. No, there is I have two resources available. One's called Vox Gravis, one called Vox Profunda. There's also one called Flint, and all of those will provide you with some good solo tools to use for this. But truly, there's Game Master's Apprentice, Mythic. Some people, when they try to enter into Mythic right away and use that as their primary solo system, for some people, it's just the best. And for other people, it's not the best. And then they actually learn how to use it, and then it's the best. And some people it just doesn't work for. But I wanted to say that if, without even needing to know the system, you can check out Mythic's cards. They have like a really good card set that I think is, where is, yes, here it is. No, this is not the Mythic cards. This is the $12 foot. I mean, that alone, I guess, is worth the price of admission. The foot. Maybe I'll paint that foot hand. And they're just like really, yeah. It's anyways. So you can decide, what is it? On that. But yes, there is also the cards, and I think they're Adventure Crafter. Like this. They're look like that. And they have lots of good stuff. And if you watch my Cardboy video from the other day, among the greatest and most cost-effective by Amagi Games is their Oracle, which just has the essential ones. This might be, you might need a little something to get you going a little bit more, but I strongly recommend, just when you use randomized oracles, just go with your gut, go with your instinct. Don't rely too much, or don't feel like you need to follow the card to the T. Also, I think that just any sort of general yes no system that you can come up with is fine. If you wanted to get cute, you can, of course, use Tower House Creative. They have an Oracle die right here. You don't need this. You could do a 1d6. You could do a 1d6 and say 6 is yes, 1 is no, and closer to 6 is more yes, closer to 1 is more no. Believe me, having gone to the max, like to having gone to light speed levels of um, finding all the different solo tools and resources, you sort of end up back where you started. Seriously, because you know those cards that I showed from Amagi Games, like I that's all I need for solo play is a card that says like duck or um Bunyan. If I had one card that just said Bunyan, that's enough for me to solo play. The last thing is, I don't know how helpful this will be, and I also don't have a good idea of how much rules were updated, but I bet you can find for very cheap. And I know this because I tried selling this on eBay once, and I think it was down to about $4, and people were sending me counter offers about like, how about $3.12? And I was like, you know what, just forget it. But if you find a 5e GM screen, pretty good stuff. Just in terms of everything you need here, right? It has all the actions you could do: travel, services, encounter distances, cover, food, drink, lodging, different size stuff, things you could do on your turn, different conditions, how to set difficulty checks, skills and their associated abilities. You definitely need to get used to that when you start playing. And then I think there's one more, yeah, nice picture of a, I think that is, oh yeah, that's a cat. All right, so that is my overview of Heroes of the Borderlands. All in all, I would say it's it's a good. It was a. I think it was a good business decision to present it like this. To me, it seems very inviting. Seems very intuitive. And I think even though many of us may not be the target audience for this for various reasons, I think there's some lessons in this from a design standpoint, as well as sort of meeting players where they are. One of the things that is done well, simply because they have so many resources to employ, is that if you're ever looking for guidance, if you're writing a game or an adventure or crafting something, you really want to look to something like this that's really polished to see how to explain things to people. Working on an economy of words, presenting things in a good, intuitive order. But other than that, what are your thoughts? Do you feel like I need to be ritually like cleansed? Do you want to throw that like lice powder on me like they do at the beginning of every pre-1940s prison scene, Shawshank Redemption style? Or did you buy this? Do you like it? And most importantly, should I paint this foot? I would at this point put my outro, but I had a severe computer crash, um, and I just had to have a little bit of fun though to make some videos. So this one and another one will be up over the next few days, and I am otherwise back at work though, finishing the Outer Darkness, which has only a few days left, about 5 days left till the final edition of it will be uploaded, and then the price will go back from $5 to 11s 99s. Thank you everybody, and word up.